shut down much better that way, and your recording device will work much better if only one person attends.
Indeed, I agree.
Right. Now, the other thing that we didn't get into, Mr. Lyons, and I don't know if you're interested in this, and I don't want to go back through our whole debate we already had, but here's what I do, and I think you might have seen this earlier. Anytime someone comes in with charges that are pending, and there are 2 charges pending, it appears. You're charged with driving with a suspended license. There is also a charge of use or possession of drug paraphernalia. Each of these is a Class 2 misdemeanor, punishable by a maximum of up to a $500 fine, and the state's waiving any jail time, so that's not applicable today. Now, these are the driving with a suspended license, and I think you may have seen me give a sentence that's what they call a scheduled or bondable offense.
Okay.
The fine and costs on that would be $272.50. Whether you're found guilty or would plead guilty, that's what the court would impose. Now, the use or possession of drug paraphernalia is not necessarily a scheduled matter that I've seen on a regular basis, but it could be punishable by something of a similar nature. And usually what I ask Mr. Davies, and it's kind of up to him if he wants to make any offer to you in the form of a plea agreement. Sometimes the state may say if you plead to one, they'll dismiss the other. I don't know if that's an offer he wants to make, but I'll ask him first. Mr. Davies, is that something you would like to do that might resolve this matter today?
If there's a plea to driving under suspension, we'll dismiss the paraphernalia.
And so, Mr. Lyons, you don't have to do that, but they're offering, if you wanted to enter a plea.
Can I counter?
Well, there's only 2 charges. And if you wanted to have a discussion with him separately outside of my presence, because I don't get involved in the plea discussions, but when you're not represented by counsel, I usually ask in the fashion I'm doing.
Okay.
So what he said is if you wanted to plead to that driving with suspended, they would dismiss the other charge. You wouldn't have to plead guilty because the court could accept a no contest plea, which means you're not fighting it. Now, when you said could you counter, I don't know if you meant you would rather plead to the other charge and have this one dismissed.
No, give him my offer.
Okay. Do you have a proposal that you want?
I do.
Okay.
My proposal is that we dismiss this case post haste and we drop the whole thing, and I won't have to continue on in federal court case law with you guys and take you up to get you sued there for malicious prosecution. Because I've already stated my constitutional rights, and I stated them to your officer as well.
I understand.
And those are well-established laws. So your qualified immunity does not apply.
And that's your opinion.
And the opinion of the court.
Well, not necessarily of this court.
The Supreme Court, which is just a little bit above you.
It would be. Now, the proposal that they made, I take it as something you're not interested in.
Are you interested in mine? I mean, we should drop this case right now.
Oh,
Okay, so they've rejected that.
Okay.
And are you interested in what they have indicated?
No, hell no.
Okay, then that's fine. Is the state prepared with its first witness?
we are, Your Honor.
State can call its first witness.
State will call Tori Gordon.
Ms. Gordon, if you please come forward. If you please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the evidence you're about to give relative to the matter now in hearing should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please be seated.
May I proceed, Your Honor?
You may.
Would you state your name and address, your name, please, for the record?
Tori Gordon,
And on February 28th of 2020, your occupation?
state trooper with the South Dakota Highway Patrol.
Were you on duty on that date?
I was.
In uniform?
Yes.
Marked patrol car?
Yes.
Working in Hanson County?
Yes.
At that time, had you been certified by the state of South Dakota as a law enforcement officer?
Yes.
I don't seem to have one, but I'll ask you, did you prepare any kind of report on this case?
No.
Okay. We won't go to that part. On the 28th of February of 2020, did you have occasion to have contact with Joshua L. Lyons
I did.
in Hanson County?
Yes.
Had you ever seen the gentleman before?
No.
After the contact with him, have you ever seen him since prior to today?
No.
Where did this contact take place? Which county?
Hanson County.
On what highway?
I-90, Interstate 90.
And what happened that led to your having contact with this individual?
I observed a vehicle that I later identified as his vehicle traveling 85 miles per hour and also following the vehicle too closely. I initiated a traffic stop at that point.
Did the vehicle in fact stop?
Yes.
How many occupants did it have?
One human occupant.
Okay. Did you at some point identify the driver?
I did.
How was that done?
He had an ID or driver's license on him.
When you initiated the stop, what did you do next?
I approached the vehicle and I told the driver the reason for the stop and asked for his identification.
Did he respond to that request?
He did respond.
And that response was what?
He didn't want to give me his identification.
So what did you do?
I explained to him that I needed his identification to complete, though I told him that I was going to be writing him a warning for the violations. And I told him that I needed to identify him to complete the warning
The warning was for the speed.
for both the speed and for following too closely.
Okay. Did you in fact ultimately wind up issuing those citations?
I did not for those violations. I did issue citations for other violations throughout my contact with him.
Did you issue a warning for those violations?
For which violations?
Following too close in speed?
I did.
Okay. What happened after you told or informed him that you needed that information?
He was adamant that he didn't have to give it to me and that he wasn't going to give it to me. At that point, I called for backup to assist me just in case, there was any other incident at all.
All right, and the backup you called was whom? Or who arrived?
Weston Fisher,
Okay.
Trooper Fisher, and there was a game warden, but I can't remember what his name is.
All right. Did your conversation with Mr. Lyons continue?
Yes, after I waited for backup to arrive.
All right. This went on for some time, attempting to get the information from him.
Yes.
About how long, do you remember?
I don't. I just remember it being longer than what it normally would be to write a warning.
Like maybe about 28 or 9 minutes?
That could be.
Ultimately, did Mr. Lyons provide the information that you had asked for?
Yes.
And did that information then identify the driver as Joshua L. Lyons?
Yes.
Is the person you observed out driving or in that vehicle on the interstate on that day, at that time and place, present in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Would you point to him, please, and describe what he's wearing sufficient to show on the record?
White t-shirt, and he has shorts on. I can't see what color they are from here, but
Thank you.
Green.
Your Honor, for the purpose of this proceeding, I'd like the record to reflect the witness has in fact identified the defendant.
The record will so reflect.
After you got the identifying information, then what did you do?
I did ask him to step out of his vehicle, as I do for every stop.
Did he?
He was reluctant. Usually I ask for people to come back to my vehicle, but he didn't want to do that, which is okay. But I did ask that he step out of his vehicle, which he did do,
Ultimately or right away?
ultimately.
Okay. Continued your conversation, issued the 2 citations. What information did you obtain that led to you issuing a citation for driving with a suspended license?
So I had returned my patrol vehicle to conduct the rest of my warning, and part of that is running driver's license to make sure that it's valid. And that's when I discovered that it was suspended.
All right. You found that through the information system available to you as a highway patrolman?
Yes.
Have you used that? Had you used that system to determine status of driver's licenses prior to this date?
Yes.
Had they received correct information from the system on those earlier occasions?
Yes.
And did you have anything happen through the course of your inquiry into Mr. Lyons' license that would lead you to believe the information you received that day was incorrect?
So, and this was a while ago, but I believe that there was some question about the reason that it was suspended. It's something to do with insurance, I think.
All right, but was there any question about whether it was suspended or not?
No.
Through the course of your investigation and work with this stop, you also wound up issuing a citation for drug paraphernalia?
Yes.
Can you tell us what happened with that or how you came across it?
So I had made a passenger side approach, and he opened his glove compartment to get some of the stuff that I was asking for, and I could see paraphernalia in there at that time.
What paraphernalia did you see?
I can't remember. I just remember seeing the paraphernalia. I don't have a report for this.
Okay. So after going through the process and issuing the citation, then what did you do?
So because of the paraphernalia that was in the vehicle, a search of the vehicle was conducted.
All right. Did you come across anything else of note through the course of that search?
Yes, there was other paraphernalia in the vehicle.
Such as?
I know that there were pipes in there, and specifically to what there was, I can't testify to that, but I do know that there were pipes in there. I can't say if there were grinders or anything like for sure right now as I stand here.
How long had you been working for the Highway Patrol as of the 28th of February?
Approximately 3 years.
Okay. Had you made other stops related to contraband and illegal controlled substances prior to this stop?
Yes.
Had you dealt with those controlled substances on earlier stops?
Yes.
Had you come across, dealt with, and become familiar with drug